Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply, and this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 804, forgive me, 1-804-3212. This is a package of 100 1224 by half-inch Torx screws for hinges. I would call these flat undercut head pin Torx is what I would call them. And when you buy one, you're buying a bag of 100 pieces. Let's take a closer look at the item itself. This is a Torx, but it's a pin Torx. I don't know the size of this Torx. I will find out, and I will have the description updated to this item. Making a note of that right now. I'll have that updated. T15, total guess. Don't quote me. By the time you're seeing this video, I'll have it added to the Q&A below. Pin Torx. So it's a 1224, 12 diameter, 24 threads per inch, typical hinge screw size for your common size hinges. Your 4x4s, your 4.5, 4.5s, 5x5s, derivatives of those, 6-inch. You get into the 8-inch size hinges, they're going to use a bigger diameter thread. But this is, I have the dropsies. This is a common machine screw, templated machine screw, TMS, for use in steel doors and steel frames. This is a pin Torx, meaning that it is going to require a special tool, special knowledge to remove it. You will have clients. We have a client occasionally that is they're in the business of collecting currency from here and moving it to here in the armored trucks. So when they do new doors and frames, that material is always extremely upgraded in terms of durability, thickness, whatnot, and I specify a Torx or a pin Torx on their hinge screws as well. This is an undercut head. Let's talk about why that's an undercut head right now. If you are enjoying this video, please click thumbs up or like, and also please consider subscribing to our channel. Let's move on to the rest of the video. Now, an undercut head specifically means that the head of that screw is flattened off on the bottom. Let's see if we can get the camera to focus on our screw. I guess not. It's just too small of a piece. But underneath here, it's flattened off. Okay, that's because you're trying to install a flat head screw down to something that's reasonably thin or relatively thin. If it wasn't undercut or flattened off, you wouldn't be able to get the entire height of the screw flush with what you're attaching it to. So that's the undercut portion. You can buy flat head 1224 machine screws, but you can't necessarily always get them undercut. And you definitely will need it to be undercut for typical framework, door and framework. Let's switch now to the screen view. Let's take a closer look at all of the supporting documentation. Before we do that, a couple of dimensional properties. The length, overall length, 0.493. 0.493 is the overall length. Okay, the body, it's a number 12, so whatever a 12 measures, 0.211 inch. 0.211 inch diameter. Let's switch to the screen view now and take a closer look. Here is the item that we are indeed looking at. Some images we have here. Let's take a look at that. That's the bag of 100. When you buy one, that's what we're going to ship you. That's a close-up of the screw. Profile, really showing the undercut head very well right here. Let me tell you the thickness of that from the undercut to the outside. It's about 0.083. 0.083 from here to here. Your pin Torx. Another view of the undercut nature of the screw head. Then backed up a little bit. 1224 thread type. I don't know the base material. My magnet tells me these are very magnetic. So ferrous based, no doubt. These would be typical for a satin chrome. Well, 2C they have on here, so that's going to mean zinc coated. So a steel base with a zinc coating. So 626, or pardon me, 652 or US 26D. That's where you're going to see these screws. For use on 4-inch, 4.5, and 5-inch hinges. 4 by 3.5, 4 by 4, 4 by 5, 4 by 6. You get the picture. 5 by 4, 5 by 4.5, 5, 5, 5, 6, 5, 7, 5, 8. Hager actually goes out to 12-inch wide on hinges. Little known fact. Sold as 100 each. Let's copy this part number. And that part number, I can tell you that the part number itself definitely, I believe, refers or infers the finish on here as well. You don't order this screw and then, you know, specify finish. This part number itself, I believe, means 26D. Let's click on the link to the manufacturer's page, which is here, where we can pull up not only, when we click on that, we'll be able to view not only all of the Hager products that we sell by means of this horizontal navigation, but also a link to the manufacturer's website, as well as a link to the product catalog. Let's click on that. That doesn't come up. That's not the way that that should be. Okay, we will have to get that repaired. As it turns out, the catalog doesn't have any information on it, but the price list does, and we can open that up and then do a find function for 1-804-3212. And indeed, like I said that, and this is an outdated price list, but the 3212, the whole thing means satin chrome. Okay, if you want stainless steel, 803-3205. Wood Torx are here as well. Satin chrome or stainless steel only. Now, that Hager manufacturer's page is very handy. As I may have said, you can view all of the Hager products we sell by means of this horizontal navigation that's here. You can also get to their website, that full-line catalog, and then other documents, prior versions of the catalog. There's also a link to the Hager. So let's wrap up this video on camera. Okay, in conclusion, not an awful idea at all to use pin Torx screws. You can add them to standard hinges that you would order. They're available in some finishes. Your chromes, obviously, your mileage will vary from manufacturer to manufacturer. You might find if you're doing, you know, oil rub bronze, there might be a problem with pin Torx or some sort of a security screw. You know, there aren't a lot of downsides to using them. They are a more secure, obvious, you know, type of thing. It's just, you know, you're only going to get to the hinge screw when the door is open. So if the door is open, you know, it might not be such an issue. Where you're going to see security screws is when you want to prevent people from removing screws in detention work, you know, that sort of thing. Security fasteners are a standard in detention type work. I can tell you that if you're using them just, you know, because you like the security screw, be mindful. I've been told it's a bit more of a hassle to get those drivers to put those screws in. People like them number 3 Phillips. They're awfully convenient. So be mindful. There might be a downside to doing that. I had the last client that it was for an armored car service. The contractor said, man, I went through like 4 bits to get them in for one door. And I says, boy, what was your clutch setting on? You know, why are you, it's like at a tire shop. You know, a lot of PSI was hitting that, I thought. And also, he was probably having trouble because he likely didn't go and clear out the tapped holes, clearing it out of the paint threads. That's probably why he was having trouble as well. Even though, you know, that's probably why. Hinge screws are definitely what we call thread forming, where if you notice on the thread tip of the screw, right on the tip, there will be some cuts in them. And that's meant when you start putting it in, it clears out the paint, the primed paint that gets clogged in the threads when hollow metal doors and frames are primed at the factory. I've seen it. They're sometimes laying down, but I've always seen them, they're hanging on hooks like it's a side of beef. And they go through a conveyor system, through an oven, so paint is being sprayed everywhere. So thread forming screws are standard for machine screws on hinges. These are not thread forming, so be mindful of that. That would be another reason why that client was probably having trouble. He's not clearing the paint out, and he's not using thread forming screws. Anyway, the name Hager is synonymous with countless hardware items. In fact, everything except the door and frame itself. Hinges, door closers, lock sets, exit devices, electrified hardware, trim and auxiliary, weather stripping, sliding door hardware, roton hinges, accessories, lots of items. It's a 170-year-old company, and people are quite loyal to the Hager name. If you have any questions on the Hager, this is their part number 1-804-3212, or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. And thank you. Again, thank you for watching, and if you've enjoyed this video, please click thumbs up, please subscribe, and maybe even send the video to someone that you know. Thank you.